Okay, fam, a little introduction before the video. One, you may or may not know on my website, I also have a blog. And last night I did a blog of like testimony time, but with songs. So there's a bunch of videos there, and those videos, they're like the music videos for the songs that are like touching my soul right now. So if you go check that out, you're gonna hear some like really good music, artists that I really love, and make sure you got your bass up, okay? Get your bass up. Two, my cousin just reactivated her YouTube, and she has like the coolest video on there of her doing like apartment hunting in New York, and the video was like super fun to watch, and she uploads a new video every Monday. So I'm gonna put the link to her YouTube channel below. You go check her out. Also, if any of you are thinking of starting a YouTube channel, please reach out to me. I would love to promote it, especially if it's about your nursing school journey. And then I want to say a big thank you to all of you that are reaching out. I hit like 360 subscribers last night, and I was like, what in the world? I'm famous. Like, what is happening? I went from a channel of like 15, 20, 30 people, I think, and now there's like 360 people out there watching me, and it's like super exciting. And I am so grateful for each and every one of you. I'm so grateful for every comment and every kind word. And I want to say that this is going to always be a positive space, a motivational space, a loving space, and that I'm sure there's people out here who can testify. If you reach out to me, I will answer. Okay, I will answer every email, every comment. I will answer. All right, I am here for you. I love you guys. Let's keep it pushing. Rise onto the video. Good morning, fam. Today's video is all about motivation and inspiration. I'm also going to talk about imposter syndrome, being real with yourself when it comes to are you doing enough in nursing school, and reaching out for help when you aren't doing well. I believe these things, as I am so close to finishing my last semester of nursing school, I believe these are the things that we need to be talking about when it comes to being successful. So first, I want you all to know that I struggle with imposter syndrome constantly throughout nursing school, mostly related to this platform. I get a lot of messages from people who are like so grateful for the videos and information that I'm putting out. But what you don't know is before I put out those videos, in the back of my head, I'm thinking that certain people are thinking, who does she think she is? She's just a nursing student. She hasn't even finished yet. These are the type of things that go through my mind, and it's all imposter syndrome. You know, it's like that negativity in the back of your head saying, you shouldn't be doing this, you're not qualified. Part of my mantra, and you all know this, is my strength word, which is rise. So the way I rise above imposter syndrome is I remember who I am, and I remember how far I've come, and I focus on the positive. So when all those negative thoughts and feelings start to bubble up inside of me, I say to myself, of all the people who applied to this nursing program, I was chosen. I survived prereqs during COVID while pregnant. I survived fundies and farm and Med Surg 1 and 4 weeks of peds and 4 weeks of mental health and 4 weeks of OB. I'm qualified. I rise above the negativity. So if you feel like, especially sometimes in clinical, you can feel like imposter syndrome, especially when it comes to patients who are like the experts. Sometimes these patients will be teaching you, rise above it. You have the knowledge, you just need to practice it. A lot of us are kinesthetic learners. That means we need to do it in order to feel comfortable with it. So even though you have the head knowledge, you need the tactile knowledge to be able to become proficient in it. Even something as simple as like a sub-Q injection. Until you've actually pulled up somebody's fat and stuck them, you probably don't have the skill. Okay, moving on to being real with yourself. So when it comes to nursing school, I can tell you honestly, the amount of studying you do is a direct correlation to your learning style, to the capacity you have to retain information, to your intelligence. So I'll be honest with you, I don't consider myself the smartest person in the world, but I am smart. And a lot of the things that I hear, I remember, which is why I try and go to every single class. Be real with yourself. Are you attending class? Because if you're not doing well and you're not attending class, then you're not doing all that you could. I will say in Advanced Med Surg, I've had a little bit more burnout, so I have definitely missed classes. But those times in the morning when I'm struggling to get up and I'm like trying to talk myself out of it, in the end, on the days when I'm being good, I say, girl, get up, so I can go to class, because I know that if I hear it, I'm probably going to remember it. And if I don't remember it, when I go over it again in the PowerPoint at home, that's the second time I'm seeing it, I'm probably gonna remember it. And if for some reason I'm still tripping, I know that when I read it in either the textbook or the ATI book, third time's usually the charm for me. If I haven't gotten it by then, maybe a YouTube video. But you got to be going to class. That's part of giving it your all. The second thing is I have very low motivation to study. When I say I have low, I mean I really have low motivation to study. And I actually have been this way throughout the entire program, but as I have progressed through the program, it's gotten worse. But Advanced Med Surg is not the kind of class where you can allow your low motivation to keep you from studying. I've had to overcome my low motivation to study to really get in weeks of study time in. I'll be honest with you, when it comes to my studying, prior to Advanced Med Surg, I was studying 1 to 2 days before the exam because that's all I needed. I was already in class, so I typically need to see the information twice to really like internalize it. So being in class was the first time, and the second time is home, when I'm usually reading the ATI book or the textbook. And I really push ATI book because I very rarely go into the textbook unless I feel like I need more reinforcement. So, although I have low motivation to study, Advanced Med Surg has caused me to study for weeks on end for exams. You have to be able to turn off Netflix. I'm a Netflix junkie, okay? You have to be able to turn off Netflix and say to yourself, get up. I constantly, just like that, I have mirrors all over my house. I have to constantly get up, girl, and look in the mirror and say, get up, go to the table and go study, because we're not failing over our low motivation to study. One thing I do is I don't deprive myself of things like Netflix time and just downtime in general. So my rule of thumb is during the week after I come home from work, I spend time with my daughter, put her to bed, and once she's in bed, I don't turn the TV on, I go to study. And if I turn the TV on, it's in the background. It's like background noise because I'm still sitting at my desk studying. By the way, I'm a person that needs like noise in the background, so I typically do have the TV on while I'm studying. So yeah, you have to just, if you're like me and you have low motivation to study, you have to draw your sand in the line and say, you know what, I'm gonna be lazy for this amount of time, and once it hits this hour, boom, it's study time. For me, that's 8 o'clock, because I put my daughter to bed between 7 and 8 p.m., depending on how tired she is. And like with this the time is about to change, so it's been getting darker sooner. So she's been going to bed closer to 7. So like by 7:30, I'm usually studying. So I highly recommend that for you. Draw your line in the sand as to the time you are going to start studying and commit to it. And because usually once you start, you're kind of on a roll. And then switch it up. So if you notice yourself starting to fade or get away from the book, throw on a video. Honestly, simple nursing has saved me in Advanced Med Surg. I used to be a believer, like all I'm doing is listening to Registered Nurse RN, and now I favor simple nursing. One, because the videos are shorter and there's more mnemonics, and it's just things that I can recall very easily on an exam. Now, if it's like probably the first time I'm looking at the material, I'm gonna go to Registered Nurse RN because she gives a lot of pathophysiology, she gives a lot of anatomy and physiology, so she gives you a lot of like background information that you can build on to better understand things like a disease process, and then it becomes more easy to understand why it has these signs and symptoms and why you need to do this treatment and this nursing intervention. So I think if you're learning it for the first time, Registered Nurse RN. And if you're using it for reinforcement of what you've already read and feel like you know well but you just want a little extra, simple nursing. Okay, reaching out for help. I myself, in my second semester, was drowning in pharmacology, and I passed the first 2 exams. I failed the 3rd exam by 1 point, and I failed the final, but I was like really close. So it didn't matter that I had failed the final. I was still like right there at like, I was like at 77.8, something like that. So I was passing, but I was worried about the proctored exam, because in the practice exams I was getting the equivalent of level 1, and I was like, this is gonna drop my grade and I'm on the edge. And I was like, I don't want any room for error. I know I can get myself to a level 2, but I want the level 3. And I reached out to a classmate and I said, you seem to know what's going on. You seem to be very successful in all of your classes. Please help me. What can I do to get a level 3? And child, he gave me the T. He gave me the T, and I got my level 3, and I passed. I got my C in pharmacology. If you are not doing well, you need to reach out. And I'm not talking waiting till the 3rd exam and the final and the proctored. I'm saying, if you failed the 1st exam and you failed the 2nd exam, you need to be reaching out to a classmate that's successful. One that you know is not going to gatekeep. One that's going to share how they are successful and actually be there for you. So I had a classmate in my OB class who wasn't doing well, and she reached out to me, and because she needed to get an extremely high grade on the final in order to pass. And I was like, bet this, like please don't reach out to me for things like med surg and pharmacology. I can't help you because I didn't like ace those classes, like boom, like I got B's and whatnot and C's. But OB, if you need help with OB, I'm your girl. That class was like, I loved that class. So she reached out to me, and I quizzed her and I helped fill in her knowledge gaps, and we sit in Advanced Med Surg together. So, hey, I had a person who follows me reach out recently about OB, and I will be doing the same thing for her. I am going to help fill in her knowledge gaps and quiz her so that she can pass OB. If you're not humbling yourself and reaching out to your successful classmates, you're not doing everything you can. And you can't say that you rose, that you chose to rise, because choosing to rise is giving it your all, putting your best foot forward, doing everything in your power to try and be successful. So if you are successful, you can celebrate because you did everything you could. But if you're not successful, you can still celebrate because you know you did everything that you could. And then you can regroup. You can reassess where you went wrong, work on those areas, and then when you rise to retake, you will be successful. All right, now my strategy for Advanced Med Surg. To date, I have with the curve, passed every single exam. It's been extremely difficult. I have been shocked every time I've seen my grade, like, what the hell? How is this possible? Like, because I would always think that I was doing better than what I actually did. First exam, I scored an 80, and with the curve, it ended up being an 83. Second exam, I scored a 75, which is failing, you know. And then with the curve, I ended up with an 80. And then third exam, I scored an 81, and with the curve, it ended up being an 82. So, as you know, so I'm gonna get a C in this class, but at least it's a high C, and I'm not worried like I was in pharm. I was worried for the third exam because I was like, I'm finding myself in the exact same place having 80s. But after this third exam, and I'm gonna insert a clip here because I was crying. I was crying like a baby. Hey fam, I had to come on here even though I'm driving because I'm crying after coming out of an exam, which I passed, by the way. But I know for sure I'm gonna be a nurse. This program is difficult. All nursing programs are difficult. But when you've put in so much hard work and so much studying, and you're towards the end, the most beautiful thing is to actually see your studying pay off. And I know I'm gonna be a nurse, and I pray that each and every one of you get to experience this, that you're so overwhelmed by the fact that you actually did it. I hope you get to experience this. After that exam, because I was like, wow, I'm gonna be a nurse. But my strategy for my success in Advanced Med Surg has been a total switch up to the way that I've studied. In the past, all I've done is read the ATI book, and if there have been videos that the professor put up, I would watch it. And then I would watch Simple Nursing, Registered Nurse RN, do practice questions with Nexus Nursing, do practice questions to do ATI, do tons of practice questions to do Quizlet, and then scan the PowerPoints. Yeah, that was it. But I wasn't doing a ton of reading, to be honest. I wasn't. But for this class, so the base of my study guide comes from the syllabus. I love a syllabus that has topics on it. So I take the topics, put them right there at the top of the syllabus, and then I pull up the PowerPoint, and I use the PowerPoint as the shell of my study guide. And typically the PowerPoints hit every single topic that was on the syllabus. And then from there, I go to the textbook. So Advanced Med Surg, I actually read the textbook. I fill in where I feel the PowerPoint was lacking with the textbook information. Then I do the same thing with the ATI book. And then I go watch videos on YouTube, typically Simple Nursing. And if Simple Nursing doesn't have the video, then I watch Registered Nurse RN. After I do that, I usually do practice questions through ATI. This is a lot, right? And then if I still have time, which is typically, this will either be the last thing I do the night before the exam, or I will do it the morning of the exam. I read the Saunders and Clicks review on the topics that are on the syllabus. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a whole lot, and that is why the studying takes weeks and not just like 2 days before the exam. It's like, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I'm typically not a PowerPoint reader because I recognize that they come straight from the book. But it's just easier to create the shell for your study guide going through the PowerPoint. And I don't mean like writing down every single point off of each slide, but like, you know, the big topic and then like what you understood from it. My study guides are already uploaded to the website for Advanced Med Surg. I did it last night. Woo, child. Being in your last semester, you have only one class and you still feel overwhelmed. But what do? We rise, y'all. We rise. I love you guys. Thank you so much for following me. You all are like a bright spot in the midst of darkness. I appreciate you guys and love you guys so much. Good luck. Godspeed.